Just getting everything organized here. So we are in ready and set. Now trying to get all the camera a little bit better. Oh, now hopefully we're gonna have some people join us. That would be very good. Let me see if we can get this. There, that's better lighting now. This one's going to keep falling down on me, I think. You can tell me if you need the lighting adjusted, because obviously we are live and therefore we can work on all of these things together. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, who have we got? Hello, Barbara. How are you? What we've got is our sheet of paper down here. Right, I need to see how we're doing. It doesn't seem like it's kind of straight yet, so we're just going to have to move this. There we are, that's a little bit better. There's a little bit more room. So what the plan for tonight is I'm going to just do a quick watercolor and ink, and I'm going to be using Indian ink and dip pen tonight. So Cindy, hello Cindy. You're going to watch both. Can't beat Wimbledon. That was the one sport that we really watched in the house. So 14 people online already. Tremendous. So what the plan tonight is that I am going to do a quick sketch. Got my lovely Seawater Brighton paper. So do a quick sketch and then going to bring over a pile of old paintings, probably some new ones as well, and run through them. And tonight's little reference image is from a place called Carnlough. So what I'm going to do is grab, printed by this little beauty here. So glad that I bought that. And I'm going to use, hi Robert, and I'm going to use my dip pen that I got from the Isle of Man. Now what I want to go for tonight is just something that's really nice and scratchy. I've been looking again at lots of Quentin Blake. This is actually flaking in my hands. And so I'm just jumping straight. That's actually annoying the way that that's sort of broken on me, but sure, those kind of things are bound to happen. Hello, Jill from sunny Florida. Are you? I thought you were French, Jill. Unless you're on holiday somewhere. Are you just showing off that you're on holiday now and we're all going, oh my goodness, wish I was in sunny Florida. So the way to do this, I find, is to... Hello from Germany. Oh, hello, Jessica. You're the Jessica that I had met a few weeks ago in the beautiful Cotswolds. If so, hope you're doing well. And you're well, obviously, if you're saying that you're hello from Germany, then you must be back in Germany. So the lovely thing that I like about the Indian ink and dip pen is the scratchiness that you get. It's just, yes, tremendous. Well, good to hear from you. Thank you for being online. Hopefully you've been sketching your little heart out, especially when you got back to London. So if you've never tried a dip pen and Indian ink, it really is a bit of a joy, I have to say. Now I'm not even counting the amount of houses here because why would you? And we just keep this moving. Now let me see, I'm going to move all the way across here. This is where we're just going to put in some of the windows. And the thing with the Indian ink is obviously I'm going to need to let this dry for a little bit. So what I'll do is get this drawn, and then we will go back and look through some of the paintings that I've been doing in the recent while. And it's also a shameless opportunity to showcase. If you're interested in the paintings, you can either buy them directly from me or you can get them from Etsy. And that is all I'm going to say about that. Okay, so just drawing these in here. And then we're going to put this one here. The thing I love about with the dip pen is you just got to keep the pen from moving. Jill, I hope one day to have the confidence to use the dip pen. You did so well. Stop it, you're being awful nice. The dip pen, you just need to get going with it. And I like the quality of the line that you get. And there's something about as well the fact that you are continually breaking what you're doing. So you're having to really adjust that. So that's just the line. There's something about when you get certain lines in, it feels like you have settled the drawing in a little bit more or something. So it's getting a little bit of those, I was going to say the mountains, they're not mountains, they're just hills that are happening in the background there. Let me see, so this bit's, do you know what, I'm actually going to move this over because I'm going to be able to get more ink on this. He says, hopefully, if I do it this way. The other lovely thing is, for those of you that don't mind getting messy, that's what happens here. So, movement of the boats. I love the scratchiness, if I mentioned that. You can't really do continuous line. You can kind of get a bit of a semblance of it, you know, but the other thing that I love about the the Indian ink, getting mixed up my words here, with the Indian ink is that you get the lovely shininess of the ink that actually seems to nearly sit up off the paper, which is just such a lovely part of it too. And my artistic hero, Quentin Blake, I think uses, I don't know actually, but I would assume there is, it looks like a dip pen that he's using. I am going to read these comments in a second, but just, okay, Jessica, Cindy never tried dip pen. Is that the reference picture at the top? It's slightly out of frame. I do apologise. Is that much better now? And so we're just getting a little bits of this. Now the most obvious boat then is, I've got something there. And then this boat here, although that line there. And even, please notice, I'm going over the you're welcome. I would love to say you're welcome in German, but I have no idea how to say that. So we're just going to carve this boat here, and I'm just going over the lines. I was looking through my Quentin Blake, I think it was one of the books he did in lockdown or something like that, and I was just getting so inspired looking at it. I just thought, this is class. So that's why I was in the mood to do this tonight, and I thought I would tie in doing a little old painting kind of go through as well at the same time, and then do a painting so it wouldn't be so completely monotonous. Not that I think that you all think it's totally monotonous, but you know what I mean. Good to break it up and have a bit of variety in there. And then that looks like that's part of a boat, actually. I didn't realise that. But I do know. Okay. So is there anything else that I want to get in? I would like certain bits to be a bit darker, but I don't know how. Oop. That was a heck of a lot of Indian ink right there. And the problem then is that's not going to dry unless I so let me get. Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted there. Okay, so let us go with that, and then we need that to dry. Now what I tend to do with the dip pen as well is love how you sort of scratch and light it, so get the signature in there. Make sure the signature looks like it's just part of the painting. I just dip it in water, and then it comes off nice and clean. Give it a wipe with a rag, and then it's good to go the next time. And obviously the key thing with Indian ink is putting the lid back on, because if you don't put the lid back on, then it's going to end up drying. And I put it on tight as well, because if you don't do that either, whenever it lies over on its side, which often these things do in some sort of transportation. Now, and then do the stumpers, and then so I'm going to leave this, let it dry, and then I'm going to do a bit of a run through. Now when I'm doing the run through of the paintings, please stop and ask me questions, because it can feel very kind of monotonous, just me waffling away. Do you interact? You know how much I love the interaction. Carnlough is heading towards the north coast of Ireland, not too far away from here, probably about half an hour. Beautiful part of the world if you ever get to visit it. Actually, there were some scenes from Game of Thrones were shot in Carnlough, and actually there is, I think, a little plaque and some photos of it when you're there. Anyone online been to see Carnlough or been to Carnlough to visit? Actually, I remember having a nice ice cream there one time. There's also a waterfall. Now it's a big walk to get to it, but there is a waterfall. Hello, Black Dog Blue. Okay, so that's that bit done. Right, now to let this dry, I should have thought this through and not put it on the board like that. That wasn't the best idea. I'm gonna have to really tidy this up. So let me move this over here. Now, what I'm going to do is, let's have a look. Oh, these are all crammed in. Okay, now there are a heck of a lot of paintings here. So let me move this up even higher, and then you can see. So let me see if I can get this around here a little bit more and bring that down a little bit cooler. I think it should be a little bit better. Okay, everybody see that okay? So we're just going to start from the top. This is, hello Francis. Greetings, where are you from? It's Cork, isn't it? Can't even get my... Okay, yes, no, Cavan, hello. Okay, so this is Drains Bay. This is one of the most recent. Now, what I used to do with all of them is put it in the backing card, and now I just slip them into these little A4 cellophane sheets here. So this is Drains Bay. This is the most recent. That was using the Paul Rubens and just nice fine line work with a 0.05 unipin. Next one, Portland Forest. Now, these well in shot. Are we all seeing them okay? Good job. Portland Forest, this was Indian ink, this again most recent. I'm just going to keep rattling through these, and you can stop me at different points, or you can ask me to go back to them. But I was really pleased with how that cerulean blue went nuts when it was activated, and actually the green, that kind of flowing green, was nice as well. This was the one from, actually I did this on Friday. Barbara, yes, Carnock. You were there last Sunday, tremendous. So this is from Newtonards. I was in the van, it was really windy. Quite pleased with this. This is a more, I was going to say nearly traditional style. For me, this is what I really got into watercolor and ink, the style that I've always really had. Okay, next one is the Copelands. Again, I think I did this one on a live. Really quite clean lines about this, which is pretty satisfying. I was glad that I'd left some of the white in there too. Rathlin Island, that one was done from a demo. Demonstration for an art club, and again, well, quite pleased with that horizon line and the way the blue was sort of just drifting up. That's an old one which I do not like. Not much shall be said, but the colors, the greens for me is just far too vibrant. This one, now I was really pleased with this one. That was in the Joanna Gray style and just playing about with that, but you can see there how now if I bring that up a little bit better, is that a bit brighter for everybody? How's that? Do let me know. So this was, I had Tullamore in mind when I was doing it, or it looked like Tullamore, so it was the mixture of the Daniel Smith and the, yeah, you like the Copeland's one, Francis, and then just letting them sort of separate out, which was enjoyable to do. Some of these are going to be around the wrong way. So this is the Galgorm. That was done with Claire and I spent a lot of time at the Galgorm together, just really relaxing. Is that called atmospheric? I don't really know. So this was done with the Caran d'Ache, and I was really pleased with this. And I tried a little bit of the salt on it to see. I never really knew what salt did, and didn't really think it did a whole heap. I mean, you can definitely see a little bit of playing about with that sucking in the pigment there. But it's a view that I'm very familiar with, and it's an autumnal view. Thought that worked quite well. Bulb and Donegal. Now this is an old one. I think this one is, can you find where I signed it? Could be 2023. Let me see, Francis and Rathlin Island, trying for simple strokes to contain the idea message without overdoing it. Yeah, I mean, I think that certainly the painting style that I do, or the way I paint, I think works best when it's simple. This was drawn in the pen, so this was early on when I was using the ink tints, and that I have actually a print of that one, which came out well. Before I move that one, this was the Kiltonga. If you, there was a YouTube video we did about this using the what do you call them? Can't remember. Let's just say Kohinoor, and their watercolors, which just explode these. Black Dog Blue, I'm glad. You can all let me know if you get bored, and we'll just move swiftly on. So that's Bulbin. This one was from Bath, when we was there in January, February time with Toby, and I did a demo of this. This was just with the simple Indian ink, just the ink tints on its own, and I was really pleased with how that one came out. Grimsport, some of you will have seen the live of that one, or no, it wasn't a live, it was a YouTube video that I did. Again, really pleased with the simplicity in this one. I haven't shown this one. This is the Black Arch. Um, I don't know what I feel about it. I kind of feel that it's semi-successful. I don't really know. It has a very sort of old. Thanks, Linda. It has an old feel to it, like a nearly kind of a sepia tone and faded, but wasn't sure. Anyway, moving on. Bath. Very simple. Just I was teaching the class about using negative space. I like your routine of some splatter. Thanks, Cindy. Thanks, Robert. So this one was just showing that you can leave negative space and you don't need the information of the color. A5, nice size. This was another YouTube video. There's still a lot of YouTube videos. This was actually at Nandrum and done with the Inktense, and I think it was the first time I had the Payne's Grey, which was a joy. Thanks, Jessica. Now I love this one. Drawn in the blue, and then with the more realistic colors. It was very, very dark. It was winter, and it was about 4 o'clock, so it was really, really dark, but it really gives that, it conveys that kind of scene or sense of walking through the forest. Yeah, this is another video. This was done of Portaferry, no stamper on this one, very simple. I actually really love that one. The abstracted colors, the detail of the forest, and just the simplicity of the colors. I think it was, no, it wasn't, it certainly wasn't autumn, but it gives the feels of that anyway. Much more detailed one. Again, this was negative space when I was teaching in Stranmillis, just about how you can, you know, give, so these lines, these very simple and quite organic lines give you information that there is actually a forest beyond, but hopefully this gives you a lot of information that there's just a tree stump right in front of you. Green Island, fairly recent as well. I think that was another YouTube live. I was going for that kind of scratch. That was with the glass pen, which I've only used that once. I was glad to try it out. Certainly gives very simple lines. Quentin Blakey kind of feel in terms of the simplicity of the color, which I really liked, and then the separation out into the paper. Another of the Joanna Gray style. Quite pleased with that one. I mean, when I look at them, I enjoy them, but they're also not really me, but just playing about with it was just a lot of fun. And occasionally go back to it. Another live. Inktense, Stormont. These are all places that I visit very regularly. So it's just enjoyable. I paint places that I go to and like. Tend to be rural places as well, or rural scenes anyway. That was Ballinhinch from a watercolor class that I took. Another Joanna Gray style, quite like that the size there. I can't remember how I was able to get those marks, which are quite nice. And actually this one I appreciate sort of looking in that a little bit closer. This is a really old one. The signature there's 21. So this is 4 years old. Actually really I like the simplicity of the line, and I had that really thick brush there. Do keep any comments coming. Oh, excuse me. I'm starting to bore myself. And this is Grey Abbey. I like the detail on the roof there. Some of these are like old friends, you know. I haven't seen them for a long time. Sometimes when they sell, you're flicking through to find. This is one. I done one of Pedigo, and I think it's sold. And then somebody else said, if you do one, I'll buy it, and they never did, which tends to be the case. But anyway, it's just that Pedigo's a lovely place in the border and really, really enjoyable to draw. Feels a little bit too chunky in this area here. I feel like the writing's a bit awkward, but I really like this area as well there, and the cloud and the separations is nice there. Painted this scene many times. This one was the most recent one in the art class in Mossy Mill, just demonstrating that idea of layering. And can you guess where this one is? Black Dog Blue says, I feel that about my book collection, they're my old friends. Yeah, I mean, they are an extension of yourself, really, aren't they? I really enjoyed this one. I think it feels like classic me with the way that I use watercolor. I quite enjoy the overlaying and, you know, that sense. This is Galgorm again, and this sense of water. Tranarossa Bay with my Ionic. I think it was the Ionic green that I got. Quite pleased with that one. Just Inktense. You hear the change in the tone of my voice. I thought this was so successful. I thought it worked really, really well. Just in the beginnings, is sort of like, felt like nearly summer when I was in Mevagissey with Toby. That was from the campsite. Beautiful Ballycastle on the north coast. Which one are you talking about, Jessica? This one? Is it the Ballycastle one? If no, the earlier one. Was it this one? I think that was I could think that was maybe a sea green, potentially a sea green, if that's what it was. Yes, I think it was a sea green. Or hold on a second. Good question. Get out the pencil roll. Sea breeze, I think it was. Could have been sea breeze or green aquamarine, potentially either of those. So sea breeze or green aquamarine. So the number of the green aquamarine is 1220, and the sea breeze is 1225. Okay, that answers your question. Okay, Francis. Well, like many of these, so we'll give up saying that as the really like ones are going to be too many. You're being awful nice. Okay, so this is another one. This is an example of how to paint a building at night and just using the layering up technique. You're welcome, Jess. So that's the Lucas building. And this is an old one. I really liked this one when I did it. It was funny, I thought that one... So initially I sold quite a lot quite quickly because I wasn't selling them for very much and I was locked down and people were looking to spend money. Just the trumpet flower cactus, 21. You like that building? Berlin. This was done with a much thicker dip pen. I felt it was quite successful. That was 23, I think, or 22. Houses of Parliament. Remember somebody saying it looked like they were on fire. This is 2021 as well. This is when I was just going really through different places to paint. Titanic Belfast, where I worked for, I think I was there for 3 years. And I feel like I captured the building. I actually got prints done of this. I thought they would sell and Titanic might take them, but they never did. On we go. Downings. This is from a really recent demo. And it was a mixture of pen work and some ink tints on top of it. This is one of the, it's a 2024. It's one of the early, so I moved on in the shot there. One of the early watercolors that I did, or the YouTube videos that I did, and it never actually did that well, but there you go. This is from I took a day at a watercolor weekend down in Portaferry. That was the pub. Now I really like this one. It was a Christmas card and it was the angels, the angel greeting the shepherds. I found that one quite powerful. I was actually unused some of the, what do you call it? For the first time, my masking pen, which I don't really use very much, but anyway, I did there. I have drawn this cutout so many times because it's one of the first things that I do in the class, and because it has quite a gentle perspective and just you can model layering. Dunluce Castle, very famous spot. I think I did a video on that one. Loved this one. I called this one The Way, and it's the Mossley Way, and it was in winter trying to convey snow, and I also misspelt the E with a B. I think it makes me like it even more. This was Bath when I was there again in January, using negative space. Barbara, I love your matchbook. It's one of the first ones I watched. Oh, was it? I'm glad you enjoyed that. Quite like this one too. This one I did over quite a period of time, just chipping away at it. I think I'm glad that it still has the light coming through. I remember the movie that I was watching had Forrest Whitaker in it, but I don't remember. Something to do with him and a president. But anyway, that's Woodburn from the Woodburn Forest one earlier on. Castle Rock. Now I wonder when that one was. I think that one's quite a few years old. It's been backed anyway. David, what a great idea to go through your paintings like this. I remember seeing most of them when you originally posted them, but it's beautiful to see them a second time. Thanks, David. Always encouraging as ever. Isn't that mad how time goes on, though? To anybody who's just joined, you're on the walkthrough with me. So again, this is the Joanna Gray. We're back to more recent, experimenting with this, taking this out for a spin. This one was loosely based on the drive to the Cotswolds as well the first time. I really quite like that because it feels like it's more semi-abstract. I actually thought that was quite successful. I remember at the time thinking, I'm not sure whether it was, but it was trying to mix a Joanna Gray technique of letting it be all fluid and then some of the layering up as well. More Joanna Gray style. A little Joanna Gray. And another little Joanna Gray. And this is from, I did this on holiday in Cyprus in a hotel called St. Elias. I was trying to capture the nighttime with that beautiful blue sky and the lovely long grass. I'm right there. I can nearly feel the heat. Again, this is used as an example. It's a house. It's my friend's uncle's house actually in Crossgar, and I'm just trying to communicate nighttime and how we might do that. It's one of the key lessons that I do in the class. Letterkenny from not that long ago. A little cloud. This was done with I think it's liquid charcoal. Yeah, I agree with you, Jess. I think it's I maybe did do a video on the painting night scenes. I think I did. I quite liked how the clouds were connected because of the continuous line there, but it's all right. Rough Island. I think actually I felt that was better at the time than I do now when I see it. Sleep Donard. Now, would I climb Sleep Donner again? Probably not, but glad that I did that one there at the wall and also didn't alter it when I got home. Castle Well. That one was, I think I did that in one of the most recent classes. This is the first time that Toby and I were in Bath together, and this was me doing his style. I was really pleased with that. Him and his nuts colours. Titanic Docks. My friend Ingrid and I, check her out. She's called Artie Ingrid on Instagram, and we used to do sketch clubs on a Friday. One of them we went to the Titanic Docks. I was really quite pleased with that. Recognize it again? The Galgorm. Very loose line work, and then just obviously adding the watercolor on top. From that time I did the demo in Portaferry. I don't know what to think about it. I think it communicated what it needed to communicate at the time when I was teaching anyway, to try and break down some of people's has to look a certain way. From Rathlin Island, that first time my brother and I did a video together, and we went across in the boat and I sat there just painting. It was lovely, so warm that day. Balnahinch again. This is an oldie. This is from 2020. Wow, so this is 5 years old. It's got life about it, doesn't it? And some of those splats are lovely too. Really, really loose and free. And I actually like the way the writing goes straight across, like this one. Yeah, it was an interesting perspective. And a Rathlin Island from 4 years later, from when I had visited. This was the beginning of me mixing more with the watercolor and pencil work on top, which I think works quite well. Ballantoy, this one had a nice story. It's just a really interesting building, and I drew it, and then the bakery, Ursa Minor, bought postcards off me of it, and they paid me and didn't really hear from them again, and I hope they worked out well for them. But I was really pleased with this one. Such a simple wee building. Galgorm River again. Who knew I'd painted it so many times? Another nighttime one. This is in our church. We had small groups in a lady's house, and she lived in Ashley Park in where I live here, and this was a shot at nighttime. It's just a very normal, we have these brown bins that they use for organic waste, and just a very normal scene. There's something about when you elevate the mundane. It's just lovely to see. Teaching Skies, just drawing the sections. I think I did a video on doing that. Scrabble Town, another demonstration. This is from my hometown in Scrabble, which is Newtonards, and this was another demo. You can see because it was sitting up vertically when I painted it, the way the drops are sort of settling. The Galgorm again. That's from 2024. A little bit too fussy for me. Pleased with this one. This was Cromer. I think Toby and I did this together on a live. You can watch it on his YouTube channel. Love this one. This is one of my favorites. It feels like it's the Quentin Blakey thing again, which I just love. The simplicity of a couple of colors and some layers. Just think that one works really well. Now, this was one of the first Fridays that I was off when I moved from doing a 4-day or 5-day week to a 4-day week, and I was down in Enniskillen looking across to Devonish Island from Drury Jetty. That's where it was. And the rain, that was the rain that caused that effect. New York City from 2021. Continuous line. This was the boats, and I did this as an example, I think. Or maybe it didn't, can't remember. Toby and I did this one together fairly recently as a fundraiser. I think we did alright out of that. We raised for our charities. And this was Elsden, a place that he had chosen. I must actually lift out that little picture. Do you know that? Printer's been absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I think I preferred this one. Thought that one was much more me. Now you're all going very dry in your comments. Keep them coming. Really like this one of the Johnny Grey technique. Thought that one worked really well. Thought there was something I'd got somewhere with this one. That was with the neutral tint by Schminke. Didn't like that one at all. Tried Woodburn, didn't really work. Spelgadam, wasn't loving the colours in this, but it certainly modelled the layering. And this was Ballyboli again from, I did a video of that one and then I think I finished it in the studio. Quite like the tones here. It was with the other Rani set that I have in the car. No, Kelly Nether, that's with the, can't remember, Anna Linky I think they're called actually, by the Koh-i-Noor, and they're just so vibrant and nearly semi-aggressive. They leap off the page at you with their vividness. We thought that one worked really well. That was a little one of the 6 Mile Water in Antrim. The Mossley Way. Drawn this one many times as well. Castle Place in Belfast. Really like the tones. Nicely kept together. Billy Pottery. Did that one in his YouTube video. Bit grey and meh, although it was a grey and meh kind of day. There's the Crossgar house again, much neater and tighter. Okay, it's alright. Portrush Town Hall from 2022. So when I was going through different places and just painting them. Let me move this down a little bit more. I'm an inspiration. Oh, thanks, Robert. Just love what I do. Rattling again. So can you see the repetition? I think there's so much merit in painting the same place over and over again, and artists do. You know, we do that. It's visiting the same places again and again with your paintbrushes in different styles. I find that so helpful. Cushion Doll, 21 that was. Quite like that one. North Street Ballycastle, that was 2022. I remember a lady was interested in that. You said, Cindy, how often do you create a page painting? I would do something most days, but also learning to take more breaks from it. Yeah, I mean, most days, I would say 3 or 4 times a week anyway. And it just racks up over the years, you know. Sea Park, which I misspelt, forgot to put the Y in, but managed to slip it in Hollywood. That was on an Instagram live. I used to do Instagram lives, don't do them anymore, because there's never really much traction in them, and YouTube was much more successful and enjoyable, so there you go. Caernarfon Castle, that shouldn't sound like that, that's Welsh. It's anybody who's on as Welsh, I'm deeply sorry for how I pronounced that. I did a Procreate of that, and then I much preferred this one. But anyway, Toby and I did this one together, 23, so 2 years ago. Columbus, Ohio, 21, 4 years ago. That's when I was just painting places and people were giving suggestions. Killy Nether, another forest that you see come up many times. I think that was 2023. Quite pleased with that one. It was on this golden sunshine day, like orangey, beautiful light at about 1 or 2 in the afternoon. It was just beautiful around Christmas time. Delamont, it's a place we would have visited when we lived down in Ballynahinch. I think that was 21 as well. Very simple. Care Paravel. I've always had a love affair with C.S. Lewis's writing about the Chronicles of Narnia. Care Paravel. 2022 that was, goodness me. Interesting sky, Colin. I think it just works. Chaslisse, bonjour, ça va? 2022, this was just after we got home from a family holiday to visit Paris. And again, same thing, Arc de Triomphe. I can tell he's been to Paris, he's painting them many times. Rue de Solferino, Paris. 22 again, really pleased with that one. I think the perspective is pretty well done there. Another holiday, this was to Douglas in the Isle of Man, continuous line done in the Premier Inn hotel room at the end of the night, which is just really nice. This one was a random one. Franklin Street in Belfast, 2022. Perspective is nice. Quite a tight painting in lots of ways, or certainly the drawing feels quite tight, but I think successful. They're quite nice. Again, another early one. 21. The Glens of Antrim. Yeah, nice feel to that one. That one was in a shop for quite a long time. Never sold. I think this is the reality of things. You know, there's paintings. Obviously, I do this as supporting my family as well. So, you know, you hope that things sell, and you think sometimes it will and they don't, and then others that you think aren't that great, people love. And this was trying to get the dappled effect of the light. This is 22 as well. I think that was quite successful. There's that scene from Antrim again, just leaving negative space. You can tell me whether you think that's successful or not. Douglas in the Isle of Man. Little street. That was a YouTube video. I think I did 4 videos on that. Just this process of building it up. Mosley Way. A little softer this time, less line work. White Park Bay, drawn it many times, real tourist place in Northern Ireland. Anna Hilt, trying to get the idea of the sunlight and the sunlight streaming across. Don't know how successful it was, but glad I did it. Love the purple in the sky. This was a golden sunlight night in just outside. That's why I called it home. Used loads of quinacridone for that one. I was pleased with this one. This was the Irish Sea, trying to get that kind of a feel of it, you know. And actually had used some of the pencil lines to create more of the tumultuous sea, which was good. Sleep Donard, very simple. Really like that one. Just a simple still life. It was one of the classes I did in Strong Ellis. So thought that worked really well. Loved the looseness of the quality of line. Quite very illustrated. Peel in the Isle of Man. Can't remember where that was maybe done there, I think. Not in Peel, but actually in the hotel room at night, I think. Ramsey, that was done before. Maybe they were done before I went. I was getting quite obsessed with the place, just painting away at it. Port Erin, that was done there, definitely. Continuous line, just really simple. This is Ruskull in, I think that was 21. In Donegal. I sat there and did an Instagram live. If you go to Woodward's watercolor in my videos, you'll see that one there. Fannet Head, which is Donegal again. I think I painted that in the house that we were staying in with friends. And I love this one. This is Bal in Namo, which it was painted in the front garden, just looking out at that scene, which was just stunning. Okay, so that's that batch. Do you want to see more, or do I go straight to the painting? What would you like to do? Answers on a postcard and type now. I'll put all these away. More, okay. Anybody else? I think I need at least 5 more to proceed with the more. So we have one more. If I've only got one more, I'm going to go to the painting. Okay with me? That doesn't sound overly convincing, Cindy. You need to up your game with that one. So we've got an okay and a more, please. Yes, more from Jessica. Okay. 3 more mores and we'll go. Cindy said, "Can't wait, yay for more." Okay, we've got our mores. Okay, just shoving this back into the place where I keep them. Ah. Okay, so let's do these. Okay, so this was the most recent. You've seen the Port Clinton one there. I could say more please 5 times if that helps. I did this one. There was just a little doodle I was playing about with these Posca pens I got with or acrylic markers, I think it was, with the scroller box for the couple of times that I had Let me see, I'm just going to see if that's going to improve. No, it's not. Just need that on for the light. For scroller boxing, just wanted to try it out. I was quite pleased with that. This was the Derwent, I think it was it was a particular type of their paints that I had bought one time to try them out. And they were awful glittery, and I don't love that, so I never really used them again. I was pleased with that one, the Cotswolds. Perspective's nice on that one, came out well. The Mourns. Mevagissey. Crawfordsburn, love this shape. This was done there, which was nice to do there. Malvern Hills, that's where my grandfather was from, and my great aunt and uncle lived in Malvern area. York Minster. Banbridge, that was another Instagram live. Protaris from the last summer when I was in Cyprus. Rathmullen when I stayed in Donegal. Can you see the theme? Just drawn simply the places that I've been. So it becomes Oxford Island, that one was done there. That was another sketch club. Westminster Abbey, that was done on the day that the king was coronated. Yeah, I was pleased with that one. Feels very detailed, doesn't it? We've dropped down to 14 people, so I think I'm boring people ever so slightly. This one, I don't love that one, but it was from that day that I did in Portaferry. You can see there's another White Park Bay. And then Rathmelton. So I'm going to go through these quickly. So these, Lower Slaughter. Jessica, you'll remember that if you're still on. It was Lower Slaughter as well. The tree in Lower Slaughter. You see the theme here? Lower Slaughter again. I'm just going to zip through these because I do want to keep you interested. This was one that I did as an example and then just decided to finish. Again, and that was trying to do the one in Cyprus again, but I prefer the first one. Robert, I'm definitely still with you. I don't want my Wi-Fi to up. Browns Bay, goodness me, that was annoying. Those blooming Daniel Smith watercolor sticks, didn't love them. Mevagissey, was pleased with that one. You guys might recognise that one from one of the YouTube videos. St Anne's Cathedral in Belfast. Now, I got less fussy as the years have gone by. It was just a little doodle. I was pleased with that one. I just bought the Indian ink colour that day. So let me see. Just trying to create some sort of order here. This was done, I was fishing one day with a friend and drew this one. Now, these are lots of little ones. I think that was Castlewellan. Waiting for the plane. Don't think I've ever put that one on Insta. Quite like that one. Very simple. Maybe keep that one out. Bath, that was done on the plane. That was done in Cyprus, as was that one was done in Cyprus. Am I correct in my observation that your style's gotten loose over time, so I'm newbie to this? Yeah, I would say it probably has, but you know, it sort of goes, it swings between sort of tighter and looser, and I think actually that there is a lot of, you know, sort of living this stuff. There's a lot of to and fro, and there's times where you want to draw a wee bit tighter and times where you want to get looser, you know. That was done in Paris. I loved that one. Pleased with that one. The colours especially. I think I did that in the car waiting for my son. Done in the Tropic House. One of the very, very first YouTube videos. Holland and Wolf. The Cranes. Strand Hill. That was the first YouTube video, I think, done there, and I actually painted one of them and forgot to record. Oh, the things you do. That was another very early on Harbour Commission building. That was of Stranmillis building when we painted plein air that time. Points Pass from a long time ago, 2022. City Hall, that was one of the firsts. Do you know what? It so brings back memories looking at these things. Mevagissey. That one was done in Mevagissey. Mevagissey again. Can you tell this is from when I was in Mevagissey with Toby? I really quite like that one. That's where you paint first and then add in the structure after. The very, very simple, there's a couple of lines and then creating the tree line. Belfast, I wasn't overly keen on that one. That was trying those Faber-Castell felt pens that you meant to add water to. That was a not great experience. Bath, remember that one being a bit of a struggle to get to that one. The Moat in Donaghadee. I think that one came out quite well. The Point of Air, that's the lighthouse at the tip of the Isle of Man. Narble Bay, that was in the Isle of Man as well, done in the hotel in the evening. Peel Castle, I can't remember when that one was done. Lower Slaughter was done in Lower Slaughter. Very simple. That's the 6 Mile Water, I think, again, in Antrim. I was waiting for Anna, and my daughter Anna was getting her nails done, and I just painted while I was waiting. I was trying to give that perspective of looking up in Belfast. Carrickfergus, that's really early on as well, and I think I finished that one or added to that one. That was the first, I think, the first sketch club we did in St George's Market. That was by the lake. That was by the lake at when we were fishing another day. The Cotswolds, first time at the Cotswolds with Toby. Not the most recent. There's that tree, Jess. That's that. If you Jess, if you're still on, that's that tree that I painted. Yeah, I like that one. I think that it's quite stylized in some ways, isn't it? That was again from the first trip in the Cotswolds. Castle Lettsby, and that was another sketch club. Sleeve Donner, I think I did a video on that one. I was just using the ink tents. The Douglas Tram from painting in the Isle of Man. Stonehaven, I did. So Charlie Flinders and John, what's his surname? Can't remember. John's a lovely guy, John O'Neill. Charlie, John, and I think it was 21, did a few Instagram lives together, and this was one of those from one of those videos. Oh yeah, the tram, you appreciate that one? That's actually, I did prints of that one too. That was from a commission which I don't want to talk about. And Lockshore one evening, don't love the colours. Dramara, it's okay. I think I did a video on that, just doing simple one-line colour. That was a bit of a disaster the first time in Bath. Didn't love that one. Nor that one, Milford. And Rathmullen, that's okay, but that's alright. Lotherton Hall, that was from when there was loads of challenges. You can draw it in your style. Your own style, I think it was on Instagram over lockdown. Palm House, is it successful? I don't know, sort of. That was another doing the night scene out the back before the studio was out the back. One of the earlies from 2020, Notre Dame. Very, very early, before it even really found my style. I don't love this at all, but it was on the way to discovering a way that I really like to paint, so I keep it for that reason. The Parthenon, I think I'm actually going to be in Athens, I think, this summer. So, you never know, maybe paint that one again. That was early. I think I was on lockdown and I was living in the man cave. Clifton Village, that was Charlie and I did a live together. His sold and mine was a bit of a disaster, really. Portobello Baths, that's another live with those guys. As is that one, the North Berwick one. Whitby Harbour, that was another draw it in your own style challenge, as was that one. You can see how those things were so influential, and that was Charlie had given one of those draw it in your own styles. That was another one, I think. Graham Reynolds did that one. Just like the plant. I went through a plant phase. Illustrating plants. Mistletoe, yeah. Did Christmas cards of that. Never were really that popular. That's what this primary school I went to. Model Primary, that's from 21, I would imagine I did that. Harbour Commission in Belfast, that was again one of the earlier ones that I did. Can't remember that one, when that one was. Another draw, no, that was from another drawing it with, where are the Edinburgh vlogs? You can go on to, if you go onto Instagram, William, and if you go to Woodward's Watercolors on Instagram, you'll find those, you should find those videos there. If not on mine, on a guy called Charlie Flinders, or John O'Neill. And the Floral Hall in Belfast, the zoo. A duck in Castle Espy. Primark, when Primark was under construction, there was a hideous fire in Belfast and it destroyed the Primark building. Spelgadam again. Albania in colour pencil, that was just one Saturday. Montevran, that was in Paris when we were staying. I painted that one there in the evening, and then that one in the cafe, just looking across the way. Quite tight, that one, so you don't know. It was Douglas again. I think I did that one. I can't remember where I did that one. The really early one, Glenno Waterfall. Yeah, I mean, I never loved that one, but at the same point, just thought always to keep it. That was very early as well. Krusenstein in Czechoslovakia, I think, or Croatia, I can't remember, sorry. Or Slovakia, as it's called. Mosley Way again. The Fight. Oh, I love that one. I just thought the colours worked really well. And really do enjoy doing animals. Doing those would make me want to do them again. That was from a commission when I was just sort of getting the grips to it and trying to figure out how to use white on top of watercolor, which I don't think is that successful. Lofoten, there's a good story to this one. So I tagged in Norwegian of the castle one. I'm a castle nerd. I tagged in the Urban Sketchers of Norway, and they got in touch and said, can you please remove us as the tag because you were not there when you painted it. So I irritated the Norwegians that day. Ispra Licmaggiore in Italy. Continuous line worked well. Lindisfarne Castle, that was another drawn in your own style. Nantgul, I just thought that was cute. I remember thinking that was better than it looks here. Durham, loved that one. Flat White Kitchen. Again, it's just seeing buildings that I enjoyed. This was one of the first draw it in your own styles that Toby did, and I was really excited he was getting some traction and growing, and I was just excited to do it. You never know where these things go. Not allowed to paint places you're not actually in. Huh? Well, you're not allowed to tag them in because that would be not good. Friars Bush Graveyard. It's quite a grey day, that one, I remember. I always quite liked it too. Sea View B&B Larn. Oh, excuse me. That's Hillsborough. That's on Instagram. That's from 23, I think. First of Derwent Ink Tents. Toby invited me onto his channel and interviewed me while I painted that one. Just prints of that. And that's actually Cairn money, but I forgot to put the N in and to give the idea of snow. I think Toby and I both did that together. And I love this one because it was so simple. I didn't overdo it and was really pleased. Right, I am done with going through the paintings. Hope you have enjoyed that. As I said, if you want to buy any, get in touch. You can go onto the Etsy store or you can get in touch directly. And if you just enjoyed going through them, tremendous. Okay, now I'm going to put these away. And then we're going to bring the Kindle back up again. Okay, now hopefully you're welcome, Robert, and thank you for sticking with me to watch. So what I want to do is really keep this one really, really simple and do it quickly as well, because I think sometimes I find that speed is really, really helpful in terms of just trying to find a wee brush that I want to use. There's a round there. Let's go for the Graduate number 12, the round there. Now, the water that I am using is a little bit dark because I had actually used it to rinse the Indian ink in. Jessica says, well, thank you, that was fun. Linda, thank you so much, really enjoyed seeing your work. Well, thank you for watching it. So what I want to do with this one is do it really, really simply. Hopefully there's some water left in my kettle. Please let there be some water. Well, there is. And the joy with watercolors is you don't actually need a whole heap of water either. Okay, so what we're going to do here is let's get this sky a rocking. So I just want to keep, could I get away with just basic colors? I don't think I can. I think I need to, let's just play about here a little bit. And this sky here, so there's so much about just jumping in with these things. And actually what I could do as well is mix a little bit darker and just add in just a little flurry of darker tone there and get some of those flicks in. Okay, so I'm really wanting to do this nice and quickly as well, so let's get a blue kind of green rock in here, and I'm going to use some of that phthalo there, so just keeping it really nice and light. And actually what I will do as well is pick up some of this across as well, just to give that kind of semblance of those clouds. And I deliberately, you know, this idea of doing things, let me just see if I can zip you in a wee bit closer so you can see it a bit better. Move it down ever so slightly, there you go. And I shall move that over there, as Jess had said earlier. I just tilt that up. Oh, you're still going to get that. Is that better? Does that feel a little bit better that you can see? Can you see anything? What about if I move this there? Would that be good? And then you can see exactly what I'm doing? Or are we better with a little bit of that light? Let me just move that around. Yeah, I think that's working better, isn't it? Good. Okay. Do give me your feedback. And so just mixing really quickly. I don't really know what kind of a tone that one is, but I tend to mix from what I've got to the next one color to the next, you know. Just really wanting to, the name of the game with this one is moving quickly. Okay, good. Glad the lighting's a wee bit better. Sorry about that. It's always a bit of a struggle trying to figure out how to best get it, you know. Okay, and then it's just got this sort of darker thing going on there. Now, I also want to try and get, see, hopefully that is completely dry now. I'm just gonna a bit more dark there, and there's another bit that's dark there as well. And actually what I can do then is use, I'm gonna lift a little bit of, trying to get a roof color now, just adding in a touch of, I think it's indigo actually. Because the name of the game with this is really speed to kind of almost protect some sort of a looseness. There's actually a little bit of green showing up in that corner there. I'll just add that there just to give that a little bit of information that there is something growing along there too. Okay, and then the other bit that I suppose is really is the blue of the boat. That's the other bit that's really sort of sticking out to me. So whenever I'm doing things quickly like this, that's what I'll do, is just isolating, okay, what's really noticeable here, you know. And then, you know, other little bits like the red of the red that's over here. I'll warm that up a wee bit with a little bit of yellow. Just noticing that. It's that little mark there, and there's also another little red there. And I find those things really, really effective, you know. There's also the blues of the building over here, this one in particular. Now, I don't really want those to bleed, so I'm literally just going to touch it in, and then, you know, a darker bit of a blue over here. And then there's actually a little bit of kind of a creamy color, which I don't know that I'm going to really observe. Just picking up on little bits and pieces here. Just get this mark here. And then that seemed to be a bit of darker there as well. A couple of bits of the darker across there. And then we're going to move to just a little bit of the green on the scene here. Now I need to be really careful because I am obviously staying close to the wind here, trying to get a bit of detail in whenever everything's a little bit wet, but actually, you know, there, that bled ever so slightly, but that's not the end of the world. We'll just let that do that. Okay. And that's all I wanted to do. Well, do I? No, there's one. This is what I'm saying. That's all I wanted to do, but actually, I do want to. I'm actually going to add a little bit. Never add white in unless really it's for a building, you know. But just wanted to give just a little bit of information across here. Okay. Now that's more like it. That's really all I wanted to do. Just wanted to really get a nice quick painting together, and keep it really, really simple, keep it nice and light and illustrate, and hopefully in some way give the semblance of a place. Now there's only one other thing that is, in looking back at it, I can really notice, and that is that it needs to be darker around where the boats are. I think that that actually is pretty darn important. So what I'm going to do, I've taken it's like a viridian and an indigo. I'm going to add in a bit of brown to that just to earth it down a wee bit more, because that tends to be the colour that you get for harbours for some reason. And that's okay to let that spread too. I'm just going to happily let that do that. And then just that line there. And then underneath that boat as well, just going to let that line be there. Okay, and that's it done. Okay, so I wanted to do something that was a bit scratchy and a bit more illustrated and felt like it had a little bit of life to it. I am quite pleased with even how this is all sort of moving together. I'm slightly irritated by the bleed of the colour of the, what do you call it there, but we can hopefully just rescue that a little bit by lifting it ever so slightly. Just going to suck a little bit of water from here, and so that these are not dominating and completely dark, just going to suck a little bit of colour from there. And then all I want to say is thank you so much for taking the time to watch me tonight, and I hope that you have found it beneficial and hope it inspires you. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks very much, everybody, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye.